Yesterday marks the 5-year anniversary of the infamous 2017 general election, in which the Labour Party won seats for the first time in 20 years, resulting in a hung parliament. However, that wasn't the only story, with Chris Curtis, a senior pollster, or former senior pollster at YouGov, coming out with a shock allegation. But despite having written the story and designed the charts, we were banned from releasing the story because it was too positive about Labour. So, what is this scandal all about? I'm sure you've already seen it at home, and I'm sure the mainstream media won't particularly pick this story up. But it is a huge scandal involving polling companies, and this particular one is YouGov. Now, Chris Curtis goes through what he was thinking at the time when the polls were narrowing. Many people, even in hope, didn't believe the Labour Party would do so well. Many expected a catastrophic defeat, and even the polling gurus, which is why their data, when it showed that the gap was getting smaller and smaller, people like Chris Curtis just simply didn't believe it. They thought their methodology was completely wrong. The first thing I would do every morning is download the overnight data, and each day the gap just kept getting smaller and smaller. On the morning of the Manchester bombing, we actually had Labour pulling level, although the poll got spiked because the campaign rightly paused. Then what happened after that? The MRP was released. Now, what is the MRP? MRP is a poll, but it's a bit more scientific, a bit more rigid. So many people were expecting the MRP poll to completely shit on YouGov, but what actually happened is the MRP actually showed the exact same thing as standard polls, and it was the first time somebody predicted a hung parliament. Chris Curtis explains that traditional polls were showing the gap was narrowing, and this is something that should have been taken seriously, but they couldn't quite believe it. So they used experimental methodology as an excuse of why these polls were getting closer and closer. So where's the scandal? Seems pretty harmless. No one expected the Labour Party to do so well. Of course, pollsters themselves didn't expect Labour to do so well. Where's the issue? Well, the issue is right here. Nadim Zahawi is a Tory MP, a cabinet minister. Now, he called up the CEO and said he would call for his resignation, that's at YouGov, by the way, if he was wrong about the data. And it became pretty clear, according to Chris Curtis, that everyone would be out of a job. This political pressure will change real outcomes. It will suppress information, which is exactly what it did here. So Chris goes on to say that after one of the debates in which Theresa May decided not to turn up, there was a poll that was taken, and Jeremy Corbyn won, I quote, by a country mile, and 1 in 4 Tory voters thought he was the best. But Chris explains, and this is the tweet which has caused a huge firestorm, is what I said earlier, but despite having written the story and designed the charts, we were banned from releasing the story because it was too positive about Labour. So that poll in which 1 in 4 Tory voters thought, in which the majority of people agree that Jeremy Corbyn smashed that debate, that poll was suppressed. This isn't a small issue, and the mainstream media, they probably won't cover it. You might hear it in spots. I'll be very surprised if the BBC cover this extensively. But this is a dark day for democracy. This is political parties, this is the establishment getting involved in polling data, which can influence not the whole result, but it can influence people's motivations. We know that the Labour right tried to throw the 2017 election. We know the establishment and the media tried to stop Jeremy Corbyn, and we knew there was probably other fishy things going on. But this is a huge scandal. This is political suppression. This is an attack on democracy. In a liberal democracy, the only thing that should stop the Labour Party getting into power is the Conservatives or other political parties. The media should rightly criticise them, but shouldn't actively try and stop them. That goes for the establishment, and that goes for polls. Now, Nadim Zahawi, who was at the centre of the story, has responded, and he tweeted this. This was clearly a joke between two good friends who had previously been business partners for several years. Stefan continues to be one of my closest friends, and at no point since leaving YouGov in 2010 have I had any influence on the company. Suggesting otherwise is untrue. Does anyone believe that? Absolutely not. Now, of course, YouGov and many people are going to come up with statements. They are going to deny these allegations. And these are allegations, by the way. But this is from a senior pollster. What skin does he have in the game to lie about his former company? If you ask me, I completely believe him. I think it makes sense. I mean, with all the other forces trying to stop a progressive Labour government, why not add polling to the mix as well?